So let's be honest about how we really got here. Our president decided he doesn't like the Somali community and he wants to destroy them. Speaker DeMuth and the GOP caucus sent a YouTuber out to create the narrative they want out there, not the truth, what they want you to believe. The child care system in Minnesota is very complicated, even for those of us who have worked in it for decades. So I can understand that it is easy to believe what you see on social media. But the truth is that Minnesota has guardrails in place to make defrauding the child care system extremely difficult. Minnesota does investigate suspected fraud in child care and hold people accountable, and they will continue to do so because fraud is never acceptable. But cutting off child care funding to everyone in the state is not the answer, and it's not acceptable.
That's right.
And I request that our government supports our child care centers and stop this heinous crime and this hate that's happening around our state. Thank you.
If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad. My name is Deco Noor. I'm a parent who receives federal funding for childcare for my kiddo. Over 20,000 kids will lose access to childcare programs. And that 20,000 thousands of children rely on childcare and thousands of parents rely on childcare. Therefore, if childcare will, oh my God.
Yes, for the past few days, a lot is happening in Minnesota after night. I don't know if Nick, how do I pronounce this name? This guy is doing a great job. He went into these areas and did a couple of videos exposing what was going on, and Libras are now claiming racism. I don't understand how when things like this happen, they will immediately rush and link everything to racism. It is insane. When you take a look at this, the Trump administration announced a freeze on all federal child care payment to the state of Minnesota. This affects approximately $185 million in annual funding through programs like the Child Care Assistance Program, pending investigation into the alleged fraud that is happening in these areas. At a certain point, you wonder why Tim was going off on Elon Musk.
It is hard. It is a phenomenon we have never seen before. Right. That one person would dominate
every
just the national
every dinner
for over a decade.
Yeah.
You know, but and I do think you have to fight that. Like I say, if that's your whole personality, is the first thing out of your mouth is, what are we going to do about Donald Trump? I just can't.
Meanwhile, I am so sad and disappointed by the amount of people who have fallen to right-wing propaganda that is rooted in racism. That's all that video is, of the man going around to the various childcare centers claiming massive fraud here in Minnesota. I care very deeply about where my tax-paying dollars go. It's when the legislation first got passed and I saw how much money was going to be going to childcares, I was livid. I was livid because in it, the legislation, they did not put that childcare centers could not raise their rates more than inflation. And I knew that private equity firms were buying up childcare centers left and right. And it was happening in Minnesota. The childcare that I was previously at, as soon as that legislation got passed, they raised our rates by 10%. We were already paying $40,000 for 2 children in childcare. And then a year after I made a video about how mad I was, they were bought by a private equity firm for millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Our hard-earned money, when it comes to childcare, a lot of it gets funneled to private equity firms. And if you want to be mad about that, I'm here with you. I'm right here with you, and I would love to have conversations about that. I would love to talk legislation. I would love to talk about the childcare industry. But what you have fallen for is a man going to a dozen childcares when there are over 7,400 childcares here in Minnesota. It doesn't even go to 1% of them.
This is actually alarming. At a certain point, when I saw these videos, I was like, if you notice, for the past 3 days, I'm not able to report on these topics. I actually want to understand. I wanted to understand exactly what was going on. But from my observations, this is true. If you see Democrat and the mainstream media struggling to counteract things like this, you need to understand why they're doing that. Watching CNN the other time, they are trying to say, oh, this is not true, this is not true. I just want to see what the FBI will find in this place, the end result of it, because this journalist, this guy did a great job. When you want to say it, a lot of people will disagree, or they start unsubscribing, or they don't want to follow you because you simply report facts and truth. If you have been following me, you realize I don't cover any kind of topics. Before I pick up something to post, no, it is really triggering.
Well, a lot of this comes through Health and Human Services. And look, I understand that the assistant, whatever title he was, said, oh, they're taking immediate action. But to be honest with you, Tricia, this has been going on for years. To say they've taken immediate action, that probably should have happened a year ago. This doesn't flow through Homeland Security. It flows through Health and Human Services. But ultimately, it is the responsibility of the governor and the
Shirley, the YouTuber, if he was standing in front of you right now. I have
nothing against him himself, but I do have something against the rhetoric. It's, if you're going to be a journalist, just have a moral compass. Like, do what you do correctly. If you catch business that no one here is with that, or like, we don't support that as a community. I don't support that myself. I was born and raised here. I'm not for like the notion that, hey, a certain batch of somebody got caught, so all of them support it. It's like, no one, if in any community, any mishaps that happen, the rest of the community obviously doesn't want that to happen. It's a stain on all of our names, as you guys can see. We don't want that to happen. We don't.
Yes, if you notice, for about 1 week now, I'm not able to put out videos like I usually do before, because this is the end of the year. And sometimes I need to take break. I will report just 1, 2, 3 clips a week. So please bear with me. In January 2026, we are starting back reporting like we used to do before. If someone told me years ago that I'll be able to pull this channel to 100,000 subscribers, I would say it's a lie. I'm grateful. In 2026, I'm going to do better. I see your comment, what you put out about this whole, reporting. I put out every day the corrections. I will put everything together in 2026 to make sure that I report nothing but the truth. Thank you guys again. As of the short clips you see at the end, that is for the YT algorithm. You can always skip.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see them get it.
MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Robin.
Considered either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You and your husband were friends with Robin Michelle Reiner, and
everybody knew that wasn't true.
A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on his own. In one interview, she said,
"We should have said nothing." The United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
When people ought to have.
Absolute horror.
That 46% represents 25% of the country.